Oh, hello. You know, one of the most enjoyable things in life is eating, especially food. I think it's very important we enjoy eating because it's something we have to do every day. You've got to take food in to give you energy, help you to grow, keep the old bodily functions working. We eat to live, so you should never treat eating as a matter of course. Unless, of course, you're ordering a course. Of course. I need another bread roll. Now, we're having a treat today. It's a great treat being in a restaurant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. Because it gives you a chance to choose foods that you don't normally have. I'm having taramasalata.
What's taramasalata?
It's fish eggs. No, it's great. It really is. If you go in an average restaurant, you'll see there's probably half a dozen choices for each course. A lot of choices. But if you choose your own food from your local shop or supermarket, you've got an infinite variety of choices. An immense variety. In fact, the problem can be in actually choosing the correct diet to keep you healthy. That's why a whole science has grown up, the science of nutrition, as opposed to nutrition. Yes. A study of nutrition can help you to understand how to achieve a diet that gives you the correct amount of energy, and not too much. But there's a problem there, you see. Every single one of us uses a different amount of energy. We all use energy for jumping around, but we also use energy when we read or think or concentrate. Amazingly, around half of our energy is used up simply in keeping the body alive, keeping us cool in hot weather or warm in cold weather. But the amount of food we need to provide our energy changes. It changes according to our particular age. A newborn baby spends almost all its time just eating and sleeping because almost all its energy is used up getting the baby growing bigger and stronger every day. A baby's energy needs increase rapidly as all its senses and muscles come into play and the baby begins to explore the world around. At about 8 years, a child has grown to 2/3 its adult height, and now it uses more energy for physical activity. At the end of the day, the energy can run out, leaving the body tired and irritable. All children use vast amounts of energy, but at 12 or 13, the difference between boys and girls becomes more apparent. From now on, the growth pattern begins to change, and boys begin to require a higher energy intake than girls. Both sexes reach their peak of energy output in their mid-20s. Here, a man uses about 1/3 as much energy again as a woman of the same age, and a woman uses about the same as an 11 or 12-year-old boy. Although during pregnancy, additional energy is required for the baby's growth and development. But from now on, energy requirements depend largely on the type of life a person leads, whether their job is sitting at a desk or something more active. From now on, energy and therefore food requirements slowly ease off. Till around 70, a person's energy requirements become much less. They eat less, and their body weight slowly decreases. Until...
Hey? Oh, not that old, you know.
Not yet, anyway. So there we are. The energy we use up every day is provided by the food we eat every day. And to understand this, several methods have been devised for measuring energy as it's burnt up. When you heat a saucepan of water, you need a heat source. In this case, it's the gas. And the heat and energy being used up is measured in calories. What's a calorie? It's the amount of energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree centigrade. And as you can see, there's lots of heat here and lots of calories being burnt up. So as gas burns, so our food burns. See what I mean? But surely, turn everything off. Surely our food doesn't burn like that in our bodies. So how does it all work? Well, let's go back to the gas again. As the gas is burning, there's a chemical change, turning the energy in the gas into heat. Similarly, as our food is absorbed in our bodies, and the chemical energy in the food is changed to give off heat as we do our activities, as we burn up our energy, as we do exercises. Use our muscles. That's enough of that. Now, as well as measuring energy by measuring heat given off, you can also measure it by measuring the amount of work done. In a laboratory, scientists can calculate how much work can be done using a particular amount of mechanical energy. And nutritionists have been able to work out how much energy we get from the particular food we eat and how much we need to take in each day to keep us fit. For instance, Our daily energy requirements could be found in approximately 1 sliced loaf, or in 25 eggs, or this much cheese, or 4 large lamb chops, fat and all, or this much potato, or 22 bowls of cornflakes, or it could be found in this many bananas. What a lot of bananas. But if you ate just one of those commodities a day, it would be very boring, besides which it wouldn't do you much good. You need variety in your diet, because your food has to provide energy, yes, but also has to provide your body with proteins, minerals and vitamins, all those things needed for the upkeep of the body. But what is there in the body to be upkept? Well, there's 206 bones. How do you do? Rattling good chap. There are also joints and ligaments, and usually the whole thing is covered in 650 muscles. But he's lost his, haven't you? Yes, goodbye. Apart from that, inside you've got veins, arteries and capillaries that if they are stretched in one long line, well, you'd go out because it would hurt. But apart from that, they go 2.5 times round the earth. You've also got 3,000 million nerve cells, 10 million brain cells, and the body is very moist as well. 95% of our body is water by volume, 60% by weight. It amounts to about 80 pints of water, of which 8 pints are blood. I'm a walking swamp. Now, apart from water, there's some very odd things in the body. There's enough lime to whitewash the average family garage. There's enough carbon to produce this much coal or coke. Keep the home fires burning. There's enough iron to make a 1-inch nail, enough fat for 7 bars of soap, and enough phosphorus for 60 boxes of matches. That's why people are always going on strike. Apart from that, your food has to grow your teeth, which should last for life. 5 million hairs, some of which don't last. And what about your skin? Your crease-proof, waterproof skin. There's almost 2 meters of it, the old one-button suit. Mine's one size too big. However, your skin wears out every few weeks, and your food has to replace that. Now, no one single food could do all those jobs. You need a great variety of foods for the upkeep of this incredible machine. So let's have a look at some of those foods. We'll start with bread. Bread has always been one of our staple foods, one of our most important foods. We get 14% of our energy from bread, which is why 10 million loaves, similar to this, are sold every day. 44, thank you, love. There you are. Bread something we could be eating more of, and why not? It contains so many of the good things we need for our body. Not only that, it comes in a great variety of shapes and sizes. Bread, together with cereals, provides us with carbohydrate. That's the starch in it, which the body turns to sugar for energy. There's also some carbohydrate that the body can't use. It's commonly known as dietary fibre, and as it passes through the body, it takes a lot of the waste products with it, so it's very important indeed. Bread also gives us protein for growth and tissue repair. It gives us calcium for strong bones and teeth, B vitamins for the release of energy, and iron to give us good, healthy blood. Pasta. That's made of flour and is part of the same group as bread. And other members of the group are the yam and the potato. But hang on, you don't get potatoes in a baker's shop. You find them in greengrocers. There's nothing green about potatoes. Greengrocers don't just sell greens, they sell browns, reds, yellows, oranges, a whole variety of fruit and vegetables. And what's in it for us? Well, in greens, you get dietary fibre, but you also in fruit and veg get lots of vitamins and minerals. Vitamin C. Vitamin C is something the body can't store, so you need a daily supply. You get it from citrus fruits like oranges or limes. In the old seafaring days, the sailors used to find their teeth dropped out due to scurvy. So the British Navy started supplying them with limes. That's why Americans call us limeys. But the limes cured the limeys of the scurvy, thanks to vitamin C, see? What about carrots? Are they really good for your eyes? Well, carrots contain carotene, and in the body it's converted to vitamin A, and that goes to the retina in your eye. It's right in the back, and that helps you to see when the light's a bit dim. Just like bread, fruit and vegetables are things we should be eating more of. It's no good if the only vegetables you see are those you have with your Sunday lunch. Oh, that reminds me, that's another food group. Beef, lamb, pork, part of the food group that we need some of. From this group we get protein, B vitamins, as well as iron and other minerals. Chicken, that's always good value. And what about these? There's liver, kidney, hearts. Are they awful? No, they're lovely. And so are these. The missing links. The Victorians used to call sausages little bags of wonder, because they wondered what went in them. But they're very convenient and very popular. And so are these. Beef burgers can be a little fatty, especially if you have them with chips, but you need a little fat in your diet as long as it's not too much. I'll pop them on the scales. Scales. Another great source of protein is fish. You should always try and find a place for fish in your diet. Fish can provide minerals like phosphorus, fluorine and iodine, and you need never get bored with meat or fish, whether it's fresh or frozen or canned. And look at these, pickled herrings. There are so many ways to preserve protein foods. Have a look at all these meats. Some of them are smoked, and there's no end of variety in continental sausages. Now, some people are vegetarians and they don't eat meat. That's all right, as long as they get a balanced diet. They have an alternative source of protein with nuts, lentils, and all kinds of beans. These are often cheaper than meat, an excellent value, as are eggs. Each and every one containing all the essentials needed for life. It's very important to have an egg in your diet now and again. And what about this stuff? Milk, great stuff. Contains carbohydrate, protein, calcium, vitamins A and D. It's great for growing people, like you. But remember this, all dairy products are milk-based, and you've got an immense variety. There are creams, there are sweets, yummy yogurts, and look at the cheese. Now, some dairy products are a bit high in fat, so you don't need too much. But when you think about it, we don't know how lucky we are. Our shops and supermarkets are full of an infinite variety of foods from all four corners of the world. Exotic fruits that wouldn't grow in this country, preserves and spices to make our food more appetizing. Foods from India and China, Greece and Italy, as well as all your old favourites. It's all here, so eating need never be boring, so that we can give our bodies all the nourishment they require. Oh! To face up to the battering that life dishes out to them. Ooh. Well, so much for the food we eat. But how does a body do what a body does with the food when the body gets the food that the body does it with? Well, the food goes in at the mouth. Immediately the food enters the mouth, the digestive system starts to work. The food is chewed, formed into balls, and lubricated by saliva, making it easier to swallow. It then passes down to the stomach, which is a sort of a storeroom. There it is churned up, squirted with digestive juices, and mixed up into a paste, which begins its journey through the small intestine. Here the food is broken down into smaller and smaller bits. This digestive process takes a long time, for the digested proteins, fats, carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and water in the food all have to eventually pass through the intestine walls. These walls cover an area equal to 2 tennis courts. Once through the walls, the substances from the food are transported by the blood throughout the body to where they're particularly needed. Meanwhile, the dietary fibre, which the body can't absorb, continues on its journey through the large intestine, where it picks up waste products and carries them, eventually, out of the body and away. When you gotta go, you gotta go. But your body needs a great variety of foods, because your body needs so much from your food. It needs carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, dietary fibre, and water. That's essential as well. So what are you getting? What you eat every day? This is a typical intake for someone your age. For breakfast, well, some people just have toast and marmalade and have bigger meals later on. But you could have toast with an egg. Most people have cereal. And a drink, of course. Could be a hot drink or a cold drink. And for lunch, well, school lunches vary up and down the country. Here's a hamburger on a bun with some salad and a sweet, of course, and a drink. Water's very good, or milk. Some people take packed lunches to school. And this is a typical sort of packed lunch. Sandwiches are great because you can vary the fillings as often as you like. And also you can use different kinds of bread. You need a drink, and you also need some fresh fruit or vegetables, very important. A piece of cake to fill up with, if you like. And for evening meal, well, it's very difficult to generalize because so many people have so many different things. One of my favorites is roast chicken with boiled potatoes and peas. And I do like me sweet. Is that the sort of food you're eating? Or is your diet more like this? Lots of salty, savoury, fatty things, and lots of sugary sweets and drinks. Well, there's nothing wrong with all these things individually, now and again, but if you're eating them all the time, you could be heading for trouble. You see, there's enough fat and salt and sugar in our natural diet. You don't need to add to it. The fat and sugar in your body is turned to energy, but any fat and sugar left over, that turns to fat, and we get plump. Malnutrition is a result of not having a balanced diet. But the biggest cause of malnutrition in this country is not eating too little, it's eating too much to make people obese. But there's nothing new about obesity. Look at this chap. This is Daniel Lambert from Leicester. When he died in 1809, he was so fat they had to demolish a wall to get him out of his room. By then, his waist was almost 3 meters around. His leg was 1 meter around, and he was around 335 kilograms in weight. In Georgian times, they ate enormous meals, and one of the greatest gorgers of that time was gorgeous George, Prince of Wales, later to become King George IV. Large square meals make round people, and George's appearance changed from that of a tall, dignified and handsome young man to this great hulking chap. But while the men grew fatter, the ladies, in an attempt to squeeze into the fashionable clothes, got slimmer and slimmer, despite the damage it might do to their health. King Louis XVI's wife, Marie Antoinette, actually got her waist down to an amazing 33 centimeters. But while the rich ladies forced themselves to stay slim, the poor, and there were far more of them, had no option. They suffered from both the lack of food and a desperate lack of variety, and so they suffered from all the deficiency diseases around: rickets, scurvy, and pellagra. 150 years ago, the chances of surviving to middle age were quite small, which is why people had incredibly large families. However, with each passing generation, things slowly improved. The last food crisis we had was during the Second World War, some 40 years ago now. During the war, German submarines and their other ships made it impossible to import all the food we needed from abroad, and so every person was rationed to just this much food a week. 1 fresh egg and 1 dry powdered egg. Half a pint of powdered milk, as well as 2 pints of fresh milk. Some jam. You're allowed some meat, although it was usually the cheaper cuts because you couldn't get anything else. A little bit of bacon, if you were lucky. Some cheese, half a pound of sugar, and half a pound of fats, which included margarine, lard, and some butter. Which wasn't very much altogether, so people were encouraged to grow their own vegetables: carrots, cabbages, potatoes. But even this diet lacks certain nutrients, and so the millers stepped in. They started to produce a flour that contained more dietary fibre, and they started to add to it calcium, iron, and B vitamins. And those ingredients are still included in the flour used to make our bread today. But the amazing thing is that on this restricted diet, people were healthier than they've ever been before or since. Now today, there's no rationing and no shortage of food in this country. But in certain parts of the world, there's a great shortage. Would you like to live on this diet? A little rice, some lentil, and some green vegetable. Not a lot, is it? It might keep you alive, but it won't keep you fit. For a start, it lacks protein, and that's a great problem, protein, in areas where they're short of food. In some parts of Asia, people never see fish. Some people don't eat meat. Now, there are ways of solving these problems. You could eat locusts, for instance. They're protein, if you fancy them. In China, they're short of cattle, so they breed dogs for food. It's true. Chow is a Chinese word for food. Now, we wouldn't dream of eating dogs, but we eat some funny things. What about these? Snails. They keep you going, but not very fast. Eggs. Those are quail's eggs, but most eggs are edible. Look at this stuff. It's a squid. Looks revolting, but it tastes quite nice. And what about these? Frog's legs. La da dee dee da 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 da. Ooh. Now these are considered luxury foods, but if they were produced more plentifully, they could become commonplace. The basic problem with the world's food today is that 80% of the food produced is consumed by 30% of the population, the rich 30%. The poor people haven't got the money to buy their food. And if they haven't got the money, the food they need isn't grown or produced in the first place. What must happen is the rich countries must provide so that the poor countries can earn and learn to produce for themselves. There's no question, if the money is available, the food industries of the world are quite capable of producing all the food we need for today and for the foreseeable future, one way or another. Which reminds me, doing, I've got to hop off and see how the others are getting on. Starters have arrived. Great. I've got my fish eggs. Tuck in. Whatever you eat, it's pretty easy to get a balanced diet if you remember the simple rules. Have a selection each day from meat and fish and dairy products, you know, milk and eggs. Not too many fatty things, not too many salty or sugary things. Try and get some fresh fruit and vegetables every day. And as a base, have some flour-based products, you know, bread or cereals. That way you should stay pretty fit. When you're eating, enjoy it. Relax. You need exercise to keep fit, but you don't want to be jumping around while you're eating. Don't hop around with sandwiches in your hand, and don't screw yourself up in a ball when you're watching the telly. You spend 2 hours of every day of your life eating, and it could be the most important 2 hours of your life. So enjoy it, all right? Just take it easy and relax and savor the immense variety of food around. This fella here will tell you.
If you ask me, I say we are what we eat.
That's right. So always treat what you eat as a treat. Bye.